Welcome to the Vibrantly You podcast. We're your hosts, Megan Martineau
and Caitlin Cipriano. In this podcast, we talk about fitness and nutrition on your motherhood journey. Whether you are trying to conceive, pregnant, postpartum, or beyond, you are welcome here.
Nothing is off limits, and our goal is to support you in this important season of life so that you can feel vibrantly you. As a reminder, this information is not medical advice. Please see the show notes for more details. Welcome back to the Vibrantly You podcast. Today I am recording a solo episode, and we're going to be talking about strengthening versus stretching in pregnancy. This is a question that comes up a lot, especially in relation to pregnancy aches and pains. I feel like many people tend to gravitate towards stretching for pain and discomfort relief in pregnancy, but more often than not, to feel comfortable, there really needs to be a good balance between strengthening and stretching. And I know that this can be kind of hard to wrap your brain around. So today we're going to walk through a real life example of one of my pregnant clients who was experiencing quite a bit of SI joint pain throughout her entire pregnancy. Just to orient you, SI joint pain is pelvic pain felt in the back of the pelvis, often on one side of the SI joints. If you want a more detailed description of SI joint pain and general things that you can do to help, be sure to listen to episode number 15, which I will also link below in the show notes. So this client that we're going to be talking about started experiencing SI joint pain on the right side at the end of her first trimester. So obviously she was experiencing this pain early. So this was something that she really wanted to get ahead of, knowing that if she didn't, she was probably going to have a pretty miserable pregnancy. At first, she was really inclined to try to stretch to find relief, and it wasn't working. So let's talk a little bit about pelvic pain in pregnancy. Okay, why does this happen? So pelvic pain in pregnancy is often aggravated by a lack of stability in the pelvis. So there might be more movement at the pelvic joints. There's 3 joints in the pelvis. We have the pubic symphysis in the front by your pubic bone and the 2 SI joints in the back. So more movement in these joints can be due to the increase in the hormone relaxin, which happens in pregnancy to prepare you for birth. But typically, we see this from the postural changes that occur in pregnancy. So when your body senses instability, it is going to do everything that it can to provide stability. Okay, your body does not want to feel like things are loose and falling apart and unstable, right? Like we want stability. So with the pelvis, this means that the smaller muscles, like your pelvic floor muscles or your deep hip rotators, will tend to kick in to try to stabilize the pelvis. And this can create an issue where those pelvic floor muscles are really tight and tense, again, trying to create stability for the pelvis. Whereas the big muscles that we actually need to provide stability, like your glutes and your hamstrings, check out. So this is where that balance of strengthening and stretching come into play. We want to be strengthening those big muscles like the glutes and hamstrings to bring that pelvis into alignment, provide the stability, and then release and lengthen the smaller pelvic floor muscles. So we want to find this balance and this harmony. So hopefully that helps things make a little sense as we continue through this case study. So coming back to my client, we discovered that her glutes were pretty weak. Honestly, not a surprise for me. Her inner thighs were also weak. So the first step that we took was focusing on bilateral lower body exercises. So this is where you have weight in both feet. So things like glute bridges, hip thrust, and split squats. I would also have her put a mini loop band around her thighs to do some side steps. That was a great exercise. And then we would also use that band to create some abduction during the hip thrusts and glute bridges. And then I would also incorporate a Pilates ball between her knees for some different exercises to help engage the inner thighs. So we really worked on those big muscle groups first. And then in addition to that, we did a lot of breath work to try to get those pelvic floor muscles to relax. This is typically a big thing that a lot of people need to do. And how we use breath work is on the inhale breath, the pelvic floor muscles relax and lengthen. So you try to drive some of that breath down towards the pelvic floor and actively release. And a lot of people notice that they are really tight and tense there. So just practicing this through breathing can be really impactful. And then we would also incorporate some targeted stretches, like some hip shifts with a yoga block to target the back of the pelvic floor, some 90-90 windshield wipers to get both internal and external rotation to target the pelvic floor, and even using a tennis ball to get some manual pelvic floor release. All of these made a world of difference, the strengthening and the stretching in terms of her pain management. But the key is that we were combining strengthening with release work so that her pelvis had the stability and support from those bigger muscle groups. Because if we had just done pelvic floor release work without the strengthening, what would have happened? It would have created more instability, likely would have increased her pain, or it would have stayed the same. And it possibly could have even caused pain from other areas with the body compensating in other ways. So, hopefully this helped just show you why we need to pair the strengthening and the stretching together. Sometimes people will ask me, like, okay, but what about like prenatal yoga? And I think it's important to remember that with prenatal yoga, I think we tend to associate yoga with stretching, but yoga is actually a perfect blend of strengthening and stretching. So I actually love prenatal yoga. That is a great option. But I would also encourage you to incorporate some extra strength training specifically for your lower body. So, again, really thinking about getting your glutes on board and your hamstrings and your inner thighs. Those are three areas that we really, really want to strengthen in pregnancy. I would also say core. We want to work on core strength too to help stabilize the pelvis. But those are the areas that I would really focus in addition to yoga, if that's was your choice of exercise during pregnancy. So that wraps up today's episode. I know it was quick. I know it had a lot of information. So hopefully you found that helpful. If you have been wondering, should I focus on strengthening or stretching? Again, the answer is both. They work together in harmony, and that's how you're going to feel the most comfortable in pregnancy and reducing discomfort and keeping you moving well. I did, before I go, want to let you know about a new free prenatal resource that I created for you. It is called the Prenatal Movement Method, and it is a 3-part video series to help you build strength in pregnancy, reduce symptoms, and move confidently throughout your pregnancy. I will drop the link below in the show notes. And if you want my eyes on your workout routine, you want to take things a step further, check out Vibrant Start. This is a movement audit where I comb through your current workout routine, review some videos of you doing basic movement patterns, and provide expert feedback on what you should be incorporating into your routine to help you feel better and reach your pregnancy exercise goals. I will also drop the link to that in the show notes if you're interested. So thank you for joining me today. Be sure to leave us a review if you found this episode helpful, and Caitlin and I will be back together next week.